This is Mrs. Rodriguez, and today we will look at the SUMIF function. The purpose of the SUMIF function is to total a range of cells if it matches a particular criteria. The function will look at the cells in a range and only add it to the total if it matches the criteria given. So for example, here we have a bag of marbles that cost 10 cents each. If we were to use the sum function, the sum function would give us the total cost of all of the marbles. However, if we use SUMIF, we are actually able to pull out the specific type of marble that we're interested in, and it will give us the cost of just that type of marble. So for example, if we wanted to find out the total cost of the red marbles, SUMIF will go through and it will look for the red. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 red marbles. So the total of the red marbles will be 90 cents. What is the syntax of the SUMIF function? First of all, what is syntax? The syntax of a function in Excel refers to the layout and order of the function and its arguments, or the way that the function should be written. So for SUMIF, the syntax is equals SUMIF, open bracket, the range, which represents where we are looking, the criteria, which is what we are looking for, and then the sum range, which sometimes is optional, which represents the range of cells that we will be adding. Before you start the SUMIF function, you should ask yourself 3 questions. They are: 1, what are you looking for, which is your criteria? 2, where in your spreadsheet can you find what you're looking for? And usually you're looking for a range of cells that has your criteria probably at least 2 times, okay, or multiple times. So 3 is then, what are you adding? If you are adding something that is different than the information that is in your range, then a sum range is necessary. However, if the information in your range is what you're adding, then the sum range is not needed. And the easiest way for you to figure this out is if your answer for 2 and 3 are the same, then the sum range should be dropped off. All right, so you asked yourself 3 questions. What are you looking for? Where can you find it? And what are you adding? But when you put this information into the syntax of the SUMIF function, they should be put in the order of 2, 1, 3. Okay? So we put the range first, then the criteria, and then the sum range. If you're doing this in an actual classroom environment, I would advise you to flip your exam paper over or find a blank piece of paper, write down those 3 questions, write down the answer to those 3 questions, and then attempt your SUMIF in the Excel spreadsheet. Okay? 2, 1, 3 is what you should remember. So now let's look at our example. What I've done here is I've actually created a spreadsheet with our marble inventory, and you will see that the colors red, green, and blue are represented, and then the cost. And we're going to use this spreadsheet to find the total cost of the red marbles, then the total cost of the green marbles, and then the total cost of the blue marbles using SUMIF. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, so here is our spreadsheet. There are our marbles we're looking at. And we're going to first start off by asking ourselves the 3 questions. 1, what are we looking for? 2, where can we find it? And then 3, what are we adding? Okay? Now, remember you're writing this down on another piece of paper. You're not putting this in your spreadsheet. So let's look at the first question. The first question asks you, what is the total cost of the red marbles? So what are we looking for? Red marbles. Then the next question is, where do we find it? Now, when we look at our actual spreadsheet, we notice that the word marble is by itself and the word red is by itself. We can't look for both. So it's probably easier for us to drop the word marbles off and just use the color, right? So we're going to drop off marbles. So we're looking for red. Where can we find it? What you want to do is you want to look to see where in your spreadsheet you can find the word red multiple times. So see, we have red here and red there and red again. So which means we're probably looking in the color column for our criteria. So we can find red in the color column. Then the next question is, what are we adding? Now, clearly, you cannot add color. There's no way you can add red to green or red to red in an addition problem. So we must be adding something else. The answer for number 3 is always going to be some numeric value. So the column that you're going to choose has to have numbers in it. Okay, so the columns that we're looking at is the cost column. That's what we're adding. So we are adding cost. Okay, so your 3 questions are there. Now we can attempt the sum if. So we're going to start off with red. We go equal, which is the trigger. We put the name of the function, or we start typing the name of the function and it pops up. So all we're going to do is double click. When you double click or single click, it's going to give you the syntax of that function. So all you now need to do is slot in your answers. So we're going to start off with, again, 213. So we're going to start off with 2, which is the color. We will select the column for color, and we want to make that absolute. So if you're using a Windows machine, you're pressing F4 to make your column absolute. If you're using a Mac, you're pressing Command T. Then we're going to put a comma. The next thing is our criteria, which would be red. So we're going to select our criteria, or you can actually type in the word red, which is what we're going to do. We're going to type in the word red. And remember, Excel only tolerates words. It does not process words. So anytime you're putting a word in a formula, it must be surrounded by quotation marks. And then, comma, what are we adding? We are adding, or our sum range will be the cost. And we make that absolute, and we say enter, right? So the cost of our red marbles, if we make this currency, we can see, or let's change it to currency so you can actually see. We see that the cost is 90 cents, which is what we came up with before. So let's do the same thing for the green marbles. We have to now ask ourselves the same questions all over again. What are we looking for? This time we're looking for green. Where can we find it? We can find it in the color column. What are we adding? We are adding cost again. So equal sum if. We select the Sumif function. Then we are going to slot in our information. So we're going to start off with the range, which is the color column. We make that absolute. Then we add in our criteria, this time, which is green. And then we add in the sum range, which is the cost. And we make this absolute. Enter. Okay, we want this to be currency as well. And then, of course, the last one, we will do the same thing. So here we are looking for blue, color, and cost. And then we start off sum if. The range is our color. We make it absolute, comma. Our criteria now will be blue. Be careful with typing your criteria if you're typing in words, because if you misspell the criteria, it could cost you to get a false result with your function. All right, and then our sum range, which again is the cost, we want to make absolute and enter, right? So that concludes today's lesson on the SUMIF function. I hope it was clear for you. If you didn't quite understand, just go back and watch the video again until you get it. And then practice. I've given you the same spreadsheet as an assignment so you can kind of go through, attempt it on your own. And if you can't quite figure it out, then come back and watch the video again. Okay, and then there is another spreadsheet that you will complete on your own. All right, hope this helped. See you guys later.